Whose kid is this? Is that? Are you one of mine? Huh? Are you one of mine? Okay. Hey YouTube. This video I want to show how to make homemade energy bars. If you like to eat after a workout or just trying to gain weight or an extra source of energy between meals for a snack, you might buy those power bars or Cliff bars or whatever. Well, the problem with a lot of those is that they either have soy, wheat, or some other kind of gluten-bearing material in there. And if you're on a gluten-free diet like my wife is, you know, the only other option is to pay like $5 a bar for something at the health food store. When in fact you can make them yourself pretty easily. And I'll show you the basic ingredients, and it's real simple. I mean, it's dead simple to make these. And here are the ingredients. So kind of the core ingredients are oats, and I know if you're a gluten-free purist, you're going to say, well, those aren't the organic oats that were made in a non-gluten processing facility, but these particular oats that we buy from Aldi, they don't disagree with my wife, so we use them, and they're pretty cheap. This big container here is less than $2, and I can get 3, maybe 4 batches of energy bars from them. So you need oats, dry milk, powdered milk, and some kind of a energy powder. And this particular one I bought from Amazon. It's a brown rice energy powder, protein powder, and it works great. So those are your main ingredients, and I'll put it together. But then you also have, can I borrow that? You also want to have 2 bananas, 2 egg whites, and then either, you know, some kind of nuts or some kind of dried fruit. Now what I use for today's recipe is just one of these bags of a dried fruit medley, and it's got banana and coconut and pineapple and so forth in there. And all I did was just run that through the blender. Now I didn't completely turn it into dust, so it still has some texture, but you know, want to use that for to help bind everything together. And I usually also put some kind of nuts in there. And I don't have any in the house today, but I usually put a handful of almonds or pecans or walnuts or something like that. Yes, yes, thank you. So those are the main ingredients. Alright, so we're back. My assistant had to take care of something else, some other important pressing matter, but we'll try to carry on without her. So first thing, you know, it's pretty simple. It's really 4 steps. You get the dry ingredients together, then you get the wet ingredients together, and then you mix them together, and then you form it into bars. That's it. And then, well, you bake them. That's 5 steps. But here's the oats, 3½ cups, and then you want 1½ cups, 1½ cups of powdered milk, and then again this here's this fruit medley that I chopped up in the blender. Mix that in. Okay, and then the rice powder. So when you're going to put in the protein powder, you want to make sure that you have 1 serving of protein powder per bar, right? So in this case, I know that it's, you know, 16, 17 bars, and this one says the serving size is 1 tablespoon. Okay, well, 16 tablespoons is a cup. So I put a cup of rice protein powder. Now, you know, protein powders are all different. If you get some super concentrated stuff, you may only need ½ a cup, And if you get some that's not as concentrated, you might need 2 cups. So here's my dry ingredients. I also put in 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. Alright, mix that all up together. Get that cinnamon evenly dispersed. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Okay, that's the dry ingredients. Okay, now we'll move to the wet ingredients. Mix that in a separate bowl. So you want 2 bananas. So before you add anything else, you want to mash these bananas up, and I found that a manual potato masher works pretty good. You can use a fork or whatever as well, but I think a potato masher allows you to really get in there and turn it into mush pretty quickly. Once you got the bananas mashed up, next thing you want to add is 2 egg whites. So the final 2 liquid ingredients are really a matter of taste, but you want to put in some peanut butter. Alright, so one swipe of a knife and another swipe of a knife. You know, so how much is that? I don't know, 1/3 of a cup, 1/2 cup maybe. And then you want to put in some honey. And so I just kind of eyeball it. I put in a little too much one time. She complained it was a little too sweet. So I always err on the side of caution. And then I just kind of mix it all up, mix all the wet ingredients up with a fork. Now, you know, obviously, you mix this liquid with the dry ingredients, there's not going to be, it's still going to be too dry. So you want to have on hand your favorite kind of fruit juice. I always use apple juice. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of juice here. Just to kind of change this, you know, just to liquefy this a little bit. All that peanut butter and bananas in there, it's still just not quite slurry. Now it's a little more of a slurry. And then the simple instruction is just add the liquid ingredients to the dry ingredients. And mix it thoroughly. Retaining its shape, but all the dry ingredients have all been absorbed into the mixture. So, I think we're ready to go. So at this point, what's left to do is to form this into bars and then put it in the oven. So when you've got to the point where everything is mixed together and you're satisfied with the texture, the consistency, okay, stop for a second and go preheat your oven to 325. So this is really the most arduous part of the whole thing. So what you want to do now is form this mixture into bars. So I just have a cookie sheet. Make sure you have a nice big cookie sheet. Put a piece of parchment on there. And you notice here, it's just a little trick. Take a little clothespin, clip it on each side to keep your parchment straight. And then really think about, a serving size of an energy bar. And I usually have a knife to help form a bar, but take a chunk, about like this, put it on here, smooth it out, and make it into a kind of a square shape, rectangular shape. And it's not perfect, but okay, who cares? And if you say, well, that looks kind of small, and you're right, that's probably about 3 inches by 1.5 inches. But I'll tell you what, one of these things is dense. It is extremely dense and extremely filling. And I would guess that if you made it much bigger than that, you probably wouldn't be able to eat your dinner afterwards.
Okay, kind of cleared it up.
All right, so when you're all done, where did you come from? Another one. Wow. Got little girls all over the place here. So when you're done making these energy bars, this is what it looks like. So I ended up with actually 15 this time, I guess because I didn't usually put more nuts in there, but this still is 2 weeks supply, over a 2 week supply, and you just throw them in the oven, 325 for 15 minutes, and that's it. Now I'll throw them in, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Alright, so the energy bars are about to come out, and if you play your cards right, you'll have everything cleaned up. As you can see behind me, I washed all my dishes that I messed up, and the time it takes for energy bars to cook in the oven. And I'll show you here what they look like in just a second. Now there's my timer. So here we are, and see if I can move them into the frame here. Whoops, wrong way. Adjust the camera. Maybe get a little bit of a zoom in so you can see what they look like. And actually quite tasty. And I'll just say too that you want to store these in the refrigerator, and they last a couple weeks without any problem. As I said, my wife eats one every day, and they don't get bad by the time she's on the last one. And they are gluten-free, they are soy-free, and no corn syrup, no chemicals or anything like that, and they're all natural, and I don't know how many calories there are per bar, that's a little bit beyond my ability to figure it out. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment and subscribe, and I will put the actual recipe down below the video in the right in the header of the video. So thanks for watching. Talk to you next time.